You ever feel like someone's watching, but not in the creepy, curtain-peeking way? More like something ancient, sharp, with wings that don't flap but cut through the silence. Yeah, that kind. The kind of presence that doesn't ask for permission. It shows up. Right when you're unraveling. Not when you're strong, not when you're polished. No, no. When the mask is cracked, when the lies you told yourself stop working, that's when he steps in. Not because you earned it, not because you deserved it, but because something bigger than your mess said, go now. And he did. Straight through the noise, through your doubt, through every I'll fix it tomorrow. He was sent for you, not for the crowd, not for the perfect, for the wreckage. But the real question isn't why he came, it's whether you'll look. Or keep pretending the help you prayed for didn't just land right in front of you. Funny thing about help, people think it shows up wrapped in gold, glowing, soft music playing in the background. Nope, not real help. Real help comes crashing through the wall like it's late for something. Uninvited, unapologetic, no polite knock, no gentle whisper. Just chaos dressed like salvation. And you're too busy trying to clean up the mess, make it look nice, organize your disaster like it's a dinner party. Meanwhile, something ancient just stepped into the room, breathing your name, dragging light where you tried to keep the darkness comfortable. See, real help doesn't ask how you're feeling. It doesn't wait until you're ready. It doesn't wait until you've finished crying or until your excuses sound more believable. It comes when you're at your worst, because that's the whole point. That's when it's needed. Not when you're standing tall with your fake confidence and that fragile little grin. Nah. It comes when your knees are on the floor and your heart's a war zone. When you're screaming in silence, begging for something, anything to change. That's when the air shifts. That's when the unseen starts moving. And the best part? You didn't send for it. You didn't call it. You probably didn't even believe it was coming. That's what makes it so wild. You didn't manifest it. You didn't earn it with good behavior. It was sent for you, hand-delivered by something that sees past the surface, something that doesn't need your permission to intervene. And yet, when it shows up, when the feathers hit the ground and the energy cuts through your denial like a knife, you look away, you flinch, you act like it's not real, like you're imagining it, because facing that kind of truth means admitting that all your distractions were just noise. Help doesn't show up how you like. It doesn't always come in soft words or warm embraces. Sometimes it arrives with fire. Sometimes it arrives with a sword. Not to destroy you, but to slice through the chains you've convinced yourself were jewelry, the lies you wear like armor, the patterns you called personality. You call it uncomfortable. You call it invasive, but it's the only thing that can cut you loose. And you want to ignore it, turn away, pretend it's just a weird coincidence? That's not bravery. That's fear in a tuxedo. People love the idea of rescue until it disrupts their routine. They want to be saved, sure, but only if it feels safe. Only if they're still in control. But this isn't negotiable. This was an order, not from some voice in your head, from something higher, something terrifyingly precise. You think your breakdown was random, your timing was off? No. You were located, tracked, and someone was sent, not to comfort you, to intervene. But intervention doesn't care about your calendar. It doesn't need your trust. It just needs you to stop pretending you're fine when you're clearly not. And you can't fake your way out of this one. You know what this is. You felt it. That shift in the air, that moment you almost broke and something stopped it. That wasn't luck. That wasn't you getting stronger. That was a presence stepping in, even when you didn't want help. Because this isn't about what you want. This is about what you need. And what you need might not look pretty, might not feel gentle, might not stroke your ego or make you feel enlightened, but it will shake you. And if you're smart, you'll let it. Because if you ignore it, if you keep brushing it off, keep silencing it with noise, keep smiling while your soul screams, you'll miss the very thing that could have rerouted your destruction. Not delayed it, stopped it. But here's the kicker, you'll never know unless you face it. Unless you stop treating divine rescue like it's optional, like it's just another YouTube video you can skip after 5 seconds. It's not content, it's consequence. It's someone stepping in, because if they didn't, you wouldn't have made it through the next chapter. But you're good at pretending, aren't you? Good at calling the miraculous coincidence. Good at downplaying divine intervention like it's just another weird day. Go ahead, keep doing that. Keep ignoring the fact that you were chosen for attention, that a messenger showed up not for your neighbor, not for your role model, not for some perfect person with a clean record, for you. And you still don't get it? Still think this is all a metaphor? That's cute. Because while you're debating whether it's real, something holy is standing in the wreckage, waiting for you to stop hiding in your own shadow. You keep walking around like nobody's watching, right? Like it's just you against the world, just you with your tired thoughts, pretending that your silence means safety. You act like there's no one out there keeping tabs, like maybe the universe clocked out early and left you to rot. But you weren't abandoned, not even close. You were assigned, and not to some cute little guardian with glitter wings whispering bedtime stories. No. You were assigned a weapon, a force, something ancient with eyes that don't blink and hands that don't miss, sent to pull you out when your own hands stopped reaching. But oh, how clever you are, calling it coincidence, timing, a strange feeling. You give everything a name except the truth. You want to rationalize rescue because it makes you feel in control. You want the illusion that no one had to step in, that you somehow figured it out on your own. You didn't. You were about to collapse and still tried to carry the weight like it made you noble, like falling apart quietly with some kind of strength. Meanwhile, something was watching you drown in shallow water, waiting, not because it didn't care, but because it had to see if you'd finally scream for help. You didn't scream though, did you? You whispered, cried into pillows, lied to everyone else, and worse, lied to yourself, said you were fine, said it was just a bad day, said you'd bounce back, but you were fading, your light was dimming. And that's when it moved. Not because you earned it, not because you prayed the right way, because mercy isn't about merit, it's about timing, it's about assignments. You whispered you'd have your on. You went to work every day because you found a different way. No one wanted to find out what it was. Take down the light and find out. And you, whether you believe it or not, were marked. Someone up there looked at your chaos and said, that one needs covering. So no, you weren't ignored. You weren't left to rot in your little storm. You were assigned protection. A being that doesn't take orders from fear, doesn't flinch when darkness shows up, doesn't negotiate with the monsters under your bed or the ones inside your head. You were assigned someone who isn't afraid to get their wings dirty, pulling you out of the pit you pretend isn't there. Someone who steps into your nightmare without asking if you're comfortable. Because comfort was never the point. Rescue was. And here's what people don't get. Protection doesn't always feel like peace. Sometimes it feels like pressure, like friction, like a hand yanking you back from the edge while you're screaming to jump. Sometimes the thing saving you will feel like the thing attacking you, because when you're drowning in lies, the truth burns. When you're addicted to self-sabotage, healing feels like violence. You don't want to be saved. You want to be soothed. But that's not what this is. This is war. And war doesn't come with lullabies. You ever wonder why you survived things that should have killed you? Why the car missed you by inches? Why you walked away from the overdose? Why you felt the urge to stop right before everything collapsed? That wasn't luck, that wasn't chance, that was someone on assignment. Someone you didn't invite, someone you can't see, but still there, still fighting, still shielding you from consequences you were charging toward like they owed you something. You were covered, even when you were cursing the sky, even when you said you didn't believe, even when you turned your back and said, I'll do it my way. That's how powerful this protection is. It doesn't wait for you to get it right. It just does its job, over and over again, without thanks, without applause. You spit in its face, and it still showed up. You ran toward fire, and it walked through it with you. Not because you're special, but because you're seen fully with all your rage and shame and wreckage, and still assigned. People don't like to hear that. They want to believe they earned grace, that they deserved help. But that's not how this works. The messier you are, the louder the call. The more you fight it, the harder it presses in. You can ignore the signs, sure. You can pretend there's nothing watching your steps, shielding your blind spots, whispering warnings you call gut feelings. But eventually you'll realize how many times you should have broken and didn't. How many times something stepped in, not because you asked, but because you were covered. And you'll either wake up and say thank you, or keep pretending you were lucky. But protection doesn't care what you call it. It's not here for your approval. It was sent with a mission. And that mission was you. You keep asking for signs like you're waiting on a neon billboard to drop from the sky with your name in sparkly letters. But let me ask you something. How many signs do you need? Seriously. How many near breakdowns, sudden interruptions, gut punches, weird dreams, coincidences, unexpected delays, perfect timings, voices in your head screaming, stop, or now, or go, before you realize this isn't random? You think life's just out here glitching for fun? No, darling. The system's working. You're just not listening. You're looking for a polished miracle, but ignoring the messy ones kicking your door in at 3 a.m. The signs are everywhere, and the funny part, you already saw them, felt them, but you second-guessed yourself, laughed it off, said, that's just my anxiety, or probably just bad luck. But when everything starts shaking, when the lights flicker and the silence gets too loud, that's not coincidence. That's a message trying to scream its way through your distraction, through your noise, through the nonsense you call your normal life. You've gotten used to ignoring everything that doesn't fit your plan. But guess what? Your plan's the problem. They've been trying to reach you. They're probably exhausted. Divine customer service is on hold because you keep hanging up the second the call gets uncomfortable. You're so busy scrolling, numbing, pretending that you're missing the very thing sent to shift everything. The warning signs don't come to ruin your day. They come to save your life. That dream you had where everything was on fire, that dream you had where everything was on fire, that dream you had where everything was on fire, that dream you had where everything was on fire, that dream you had where everything was on fire, that dream you had where everything was on fire, that dream you had where everything was on fire, that dream you had, that car you barely missed, that person who walked out right when you thought you needed them most. These aren't glitches, they're instructions. You want something prettier. You want the sky to split open and sing your name in angelic harmony. Sorry, doesn't work like that. Real signs are messy, uncomfortable, sharp. They feel like being pushed out of a burning building. You'll thank them later, but right now it feels like betrayal. That's how the signs show up, in pain, in detours, in the stuff you label as failure. But it's not failure, it's redirection with teeth. And if you'd stop looking for permission to wake up, maybe you'd notice the alarms already screaming. You ever have those moments where something just feels off? Can't explain it, can't prove it, but your skin's buzzing and your soul's pacing like a caged animal? That's not paranoia. That's your internal siren going off because you're about to walk into something you weren't built to survive. Or maybe it's trying to show you a way out, but you keep silencing it with logic. With, well, maybe I'm just overthinking. No. You're under-listening. That's the problem. You keep looking outward for validation when the compass is already spinning inside your chest. See, deep down, you already know. That's what makes it worse. You've known for a while. You felt the shift. You knew that job was draining you. You knew that person wasn't safe. You knew you were settling, spiraling, suffocating. But instead of acting, you waited for the signs to become unbearable. And when they finally did, what did you do? Call it drama. Called it stress. Said you just needed a break. You needed a break? No, you needed a breakthrough. But it's hard to break through when you've built a wall around your awareness. And the signs? They don't wait forever. There's a window, a moment, a pause in the chaos where everything aligns, just for a breath. And if you miss it, you don't get a second take. That message self-destructs. The door closes. The ground you were supposed to leap from turns to quicksand, not as punishment, just consequence. 'Cause you can't keep ignoring what's loud just because it's not polite. You want subtlety in a season that requires volume. That's why your life feels like it's screaming, because you wouldn't listen when it was whispering. You ever wonder why certain things keep repeating? Why it feels like you're in the same argument, same heartbreak, same job, different mask? It's not because you're cursed. It's because you didn't learn, didn't move. You saw the sign, ripped it down, painted over it with denial, and acted shocked when the wrecking ball came through your bedroom. You want freedom but fear change. You want peace, but ignore the warnings that come dressed in thunder. So now, here you are, looking for answers you've already received, asking questions that were answered by the chaos you dismissed as noise. You ever see a door wide open, and instead of walking through it, you stare? Squint at it, question it, circle it like it's a trap. That's you. That's most of you. The door's been cracked open for a while now, and you're still acting like you need a password. Like someone's gonna pop out and say, "Just kidding," while the opportunity slams shut. The truth is, that door wasn't always there. It was built for you, piece by piece. Through sleepless nights, silent prayers, broken promises, weird coincidences that didn't make sense until now. And yet, here you are, staring, waiting for someone to carry you through it. Spoiler alert, no one's coming. Not because they don't care, because they can't. It's your door, your step to take. And the funny part is, if that same door was blocked, you'd scream about it, cry, shout, post sad little quotes online like, "When will it be my turn?" But now that it is your turn, what do? Freeze. Talk yourself out of it. What if I'm not ready? What if it's the wrong time? What if I walk through and it closes behind me? It's supposed to close behind you. That's the point. So you can't go back. So you won't go back. You don't climb out of a burning building just to ask if you can return for your furniture. You run. You don't look back. You leap through the open space because staying still would kill you slower. You want the moment to feel perfect. You want bells, clarity, a big dramatic soundtrack to let you know this is it. But most moments that change your life don't feel big when they happen. They feel like a mistake. They feel like confusion. They feel like terror wrapped in silence. You think transformation looks like light and peace? No, it looks like chaos. It sounds like your heart punching your ribs. It shows up disguised as endings. That's the catch. You'll never recognize the breakthrough if you're looking for comfort. Doors don't stay open forever. That's the part no one tells you. That window you feel right now, the one buzzing in your chest, that pull, that itch, that voice saying, do it now, it won't last. Time has teeth. And while you're debating whether the light you see is real, the clock is chewing on your delay. You think waiting will bring clarity? It won't. It brings rot. It brings excuses dressed in logic. The more you wait, the louder fear gets. The longer you pause, the heavier the door becomes, until one day you reach for it and it doesn't budge. People miss their moment not because they weren't smart enough, not because they weren't gifted, but because they wanted a guarantee. That's not how this works. The only guarantee you get is that hesitation will cost you more than failure ever could. At least when you fail, you learn. When you hesitate, you lose everything and don't even get the lesson. You sit there haunted by what if. That's the kind of ghost that doesn't leave. You feed it every day with your regrets, your reasons, your recycled fear. And let's not forget, you prayed for this. Maybe not in the pretty way. Maybe it was messy, angry. God help me. Universe, give me a sign. Anything, please. And now it's here. You think miracles come wrapped in peace? Sometimes they come wrapped in fire. Because nothing makes you move like heat. You got comfortable in the smoke and now the flames are licking at your heels. That's not punishment. That's the push. That's the answer you asked for, just not in the tone you wanted. Here's the joke. Most of you don't need more motivation. You need less fear. Fear of change, fear of loss, fear of judgment. You're not stuck because you lack power. You're stuck because you're addicted to your prison. You know its walls, you know its routine. And that door, it threatens all of it. It says you don't get to play victim anymore. It says your story changes now. And that means letting go of the identity you built around your wounds. That's terrifying. Because who are you without the excuses? So the door stays open for a while, just long enough, just wide enough, and it waits. Not for your confidence, but for your decision. Not for your perfection, but your movement. And while you hesitate, everything meant for you is already on the other side, pacing, checking the time, wondering if you'll have the nerve to show up or if it'll have to move on to someone else. Because purpose doesn't beg. It knocks, then it walks away, and it doesn't knock twice. You know what's funny? Most people scream about wanting answers, but when they finally arrive, they look the other way. Oh, sure, they'll call it timing, call it fate, call it anything, but what it is, a call to move, a call to act. But no, they stall, because the answer doesn't come with soft piano music and angel wings, no. It usually kicks the door in with muddy boots and a wild grin. And when it shows up, it doesn't wait for applause. It says, I'm here, you asked, now what? But here's where it gets tragic and hilarious. Instead of opening the gift, people start analyzing the wrapping paper. Why this color? Why now? What does it mean? Am I worthy? They second-guess the delivery, they shake the box, they hold it up to the light like they're expecting to find a warranty inside. But the answer doesn't come with a warranty. It doesn't come with a refund policy. It comes when it's time, and not a moment later or earlier. That's the part people don't want to hear. They wanted it on their schedule, their script, their version of ready. But ready's a lie. Ready is a bedtime story we tell ourselves to justify doing nothing. See, if the answer showed up when you thought you were prepared, you'd ruin it. You'd smother it in fear. You'd make it comfortable, safe, controlled. And that's not what it's for. The answer isn't here to make you feel good. It's here to rip the mask off. It's here to expose the lie you've been living, the role you've been playing, the game you've been rigging against yourself. You don't like that, though. Too raw, too real. So instead, you pretend you didn't see it, scroll past it, distract yourself. But deep down, you know what just landed in front of you. And still, you hesitate. Not because you don't understand, because you do. That's what makes it sting. You know this was sent for you. You know it's the shift you asked for, cried for, begged for in the dark. You just didn't expect it to come wearing work boots instead of wings. You thought it would feel like a warm hug. Instead, it feels like getting pushed off a ledge. But guess what? That fall you're so afraid of, that's flight in disguise. That's freedom wrapped in fear. But you'll never know if you keep clutching the edge. You see, answers don't chase people. They arrive. They knock once, maybe twice if you're lucky. And if you're too busy overthinking or trying to look brave for your imaginary audience, they move on, not out of spite, just because they have somewhere to be. They're on a timeline. Not yours, though, theirs. Divine answers operate on divine schedules. You think they care if you're nervous? Nope. They showed up because the clock said now. You either open the damn thing or live the rest of your life haunted by the sound of that knock you didn't answer. People always say they want change until it shows up with blood on its hands. You want healing but not the surgery. You want growth but not the pruning. You want answers but not the responsibility they come with. That's the catch. The moment you accept the answer, you have to change. You don't get to hide behind ignorance anymore. No more I didn't know. You saw it, you felt it. It cracked open something inside you. It made you uncomfortable in the best way. That's not a mistake. That's alignment. That's truth doing what truth does best. Burning everything that isn't real. And now the fire's lit. Right under your illusions, under your safety nets, under the life you built just to survive, not to live, the answers showed up and said, this version of you, not enough. Not because you're not good, but because you're too small for what's coming. You're cramped inside a shell you outgrew 5 breakdowns ago. But you got used to it. You made it cozy. You put up curtains and called it home. The answer doesn't care about your curtains. It's here to blow the whole thing wide open. So now you're faced with a decision. Not a puzzle, not a test, a decision. Will you accept the answer or pretend you didn't see it? Will you move or stay stuck? Because you can't do both. You can't unsee what was shown to you. You can't unknow what you know now. That bell's been rung. That message has been delivered. What happens next That's on you, not fate, not God, not the stars, just you. Standing in front of the thing you asked for, scared out of your mind, trying to act like it's not real, but it is, and it's watching you, waiting to see if you'll finally stop asking and start doing.